Hello YouTubers, this is cessnaace back again with another LaserDisc update video. The third one for this month thus far. I'm going to be showing these in alphanumerical order. So we begin with the 1949 War Classic, 12 O'Clock High. Now I have seen this film a lot. I own it in several formats. It is a classic. Was nominated for Best Picture in 1949. Dean Yeager, who played Major Stovall, I believe that was his rank, yes, won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. The film also features in the cast Hugh Marlowe, who you might remember from the Burt I. Gordon film Tormented, or the film Earth versus the Flying Saucers, which had special effects by Ray Harryhausen. Now, although this film takes place at an airfield during the war in England, it was shot at airfields in the U.S. The director, flying his own private plane, flew 17,000 miles scouting location. He began filming at an airfield in Florida. But he quickly realized that it was not historically accurate enough because the English airfields during the war, the runways were painted black so they could not be seen from the air. The airfield that they were using, the runways were painted white. So he moved to a different airfield, one in Alabama. And as he is quoted on the back here, it's the most English-looking airfield he had ever seen in his life. Now, this film contains a lot of aerial combat footage, which was shot during the war by American and German pilots and crews. This is CBS Fox Video Release 1075-80, which is a typical CBS Fox Video number. They generally end with either a -80 or a -85. Pressed by Pioneer USA, one reported case of rot. In CLV mode, 3 sides. I've got some pretty cool things in here, by the way. Okay, next up. Speaking of Ray Harryhausen, I did mention he did the special effects for Earth versus the Flying Saucers, didn't I? Well, he did the effects for this film. 20 million miles to Earth. Now, someone had notated at the LaserDisc database that this release was pulled shortly after it was made due to either a technical problem or a planned replacement issue or reissue, whatever. However, I'm going by the fact that it states right there, limited availability, which I noted for the page for this release. This was re-released on LaserDisc in the US about 3 years later as part of a double feature. Pressed by Pioneer USA, one reported case of rot. This is Pioneer Special Edition Release PSE 91-07. Now, 13 Ghosts. This was produced and directed by William Castle. With Martin Milner in the cast. He was one of the two leads in the television series Adam 12. 37 chapters. The 37th is the original theatrical trailer. This is release 07686 from Columbia Pictures. Or probably Columbia TriStar. Yeah, Columbia TriStar Home Video. Originally released by Columbia Pictures. Pressed by DA, DC, USA. 3 reported cases of rot. No other known LaserDisc releases of this film. DADC, that would be Sony. Pioneer had 2 LaserDisc pressing plants, one in the US and one in Japan. Sony had 3, one in the US, one in Japan, and one in Austria. Okay, for those Charles Band fans out there, this is an early Charles Band film. Assault of the Killer Bimbos, released on LaserDisc by Shadow Entertainment, who released several early Charles Band films on LaserDisc. I don't know if they also released on VHS, but anyway. My copy came with a postcard, which you could mail in to join the Full Moon fan club, the Fantastic Fan Club, for $20. Now, subsequently, there were Full Moon titles. Let me rephrase that. There were eventually titles released under the Full Moon label on LaserDisc. Depending on what sites you go to for these early films, you can stream them and they'll be missing the Full Moon logo at the beginning, or they'll have the Full Moon logo at the beginning. This was the very first Shadow Entertainment release in 1992, LV 1300. All subsequent Shadow releases were in 1993. Didn't pay much for this one. Has a hole punch out. I purchased all these LaserDiscs at shops at the LaserDisc database. There are well over 100 such shops, and they do a really good job of grading both the discs and the jackets. Okay, this is a really cool one, I think. A late release from a company I had never heard of. The Betty Page Collection. This is Cult Epics release LD 001. It has a copyright date of 1996, but I don't think this dropped until 97 or 98. Betty Page was the most popular pinup model of the 50s. And she appeared in Playboy. And she currently has her own comic book series. Okay, now, it lists several films that are on this release, but they're not complete. They're only the segments that feature Betty Page. Strip-O-Rama, Verities, and Teaser-Rama. Those are all on side 1. Side 1 continues with Bondage Classics. Side 2 has Bondage Classics, and then Exotic Dances. Now, Strip-O-Rama, originally released in 1953, was filmed on 35mm and ran 65 minutes. I have a physical copy from Something Weird Video back when they did physical releases. Verities from 1954, 72 minutes, filmed on 35mm. Also from Something Weird Video. Teaser-Rama, 1955, 35mm, 63 minutes. I also have from Something Weird Video. Okay, Irving Claw Bondage Classics, Volume 1 and 2, and Exotic Dances of Betty Page. USA title, Back to Back Betty. Filmed on 8mm. Filmed in black and white, colorized. 1951 to 1956. Now they had a second LaserDisc release, Cult Epics release LD002, 100 Girls by Bunny Yeager. And that looks like Betty Page with her. And it also says CAV. I have looked it up, and this one's expensive. Even more expensive than this one was. As it came right at the end of the LaserDisc format in the US. That's understandable. Pressed by Curray, one reported case of rot. If I didn't already mention it, there are well over 100 shops that sell through the LaserDisc database. LaserDiscs, HD DVDs, VHDs, CEDs. Although the most common format you're going to find at the shops there is LaserDisc. Okay, another release from Shadow. As this is from Shadow, it was pressed by Pioneer USA. Oops, I knocked the microphone there. Cannibal Women in the Avocado Jungle of Death. Yes, that is Adrienne Barbeau there on the cover. Also starring in this film, Bill Maher. And he's in the entire thing. Photos on the back are in black and white. From 1993, this release is catalog number LV13006, PG-13. Now, I have other Shadow Entertainment LaserDiscs. I have two copies of Creepazoids. I have The Day Time Ended. I have Laser Blast, which was the first one I ever bought. Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity, and Sorority Babes in the Slime Ball Bowl-orama, which is currently getting a sequel. They're currently filming Sorority Babes in the Slime Ball Bowl-orama 2. I don't remember exactly how many of the Full Moon titles were released on LaserDisc under the banner of Full Moon Entertainment. I'm thinking there were 37 in the US and 2 in Malaysia. Oh, the only one I am missing from Shadow is Tourist Trap. So as soon as one of the stores at the at the LDDB stock it, I will buy it. This is the Blade. Hong Kong release from Mcgahey. In Cantonese and Mandarin with English and Chinese subtitles. This is release ML667. Okay, this next one was released on LaserDisc 3 times, once in the US, once in Hong Kong, and once in Japan. At least that's what's known so far. Sammo Hung. This is the US release of Eastern Condors. Now, in Hong Kong, there were 2 shots that were considered too violent that were cut from the film. They have been restored for this release. Pressed by Pioneer USA. No reported cases of rot. From Tai Sang Video Marketing. 27 chapters. Chapter 1 is the trailer for Young Master. Chapter 2 is the trailer for Zoo Warriors from the Magic Mountain. Chapter 26 is the international trailer for Eastern Condors. And Chapter 27 is the US trailer for Eastern Condors. I've been using the wish list at the LaserDisc database more and more. If you find a release you like, you can add it to your wish list. And then whenever a shop at the LaserDisc database adds it, you will be notified by email. And I have noticed that typically multiple shops will add it at the same time, which is weird. Okay. This is John Blue's The Killer. This has 43 chapters. Chapter 42 is the theatrical trailer, and Chapter 43, color bars. This is from the Voyager Company. It is part of the Criterion Collection. I think this one had 2 releases as part of the Criterion Collection. Which one is this? This is 284. I think the other one is 211 or something like that. Pressed by Kirby, no reported cases of rot. But I think that earlier one, which is the more deluxe release, it's in a trifold jacket. It's at least partially, if not entirely, in CAV. Has a ton of extras, including running commentary, trailers for 11 John Woo films, and all that. But it has several cases reported for it of rot. This one doesn't have any. Now, next up, late releases in Japan. Excuse. This is a trilogy of documentaries for Star Trek. This is the first one. This is pressed by Pioneer Japan. No reported cases of rot. Published by Kick Video. These all dropped on my birthday in 2000. March 24th, 2000. This is Star Trek 30 Years and Beyond. 24 chapters. This includes the cast from Star Trek, Star Trek The Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and I'm trying to remember if Voyager was included in that. Anyway, Chapter 1 is the opening. Chapter 2, Ted Danson. Chapter 3, Where No Man Has Gone Before. Chapter 4, Ben Stiller. Chapter 5, The Captain's Log. Chapter 6, Joan Collins. Chapter 7, Strange New Worlds. Chapter 8, Voyager Live. Chapter 9, John Delancey as Q. Chapter 10, Questions. Chapter 11, Nichelle Nichols as Aurora. Chapter 12, LeVar Burton as Geordi. Chapter 13, Kenny G, The Moment. Chapter 14, John Larroquette. Chapter 15, Leonard Nimoy as Spock. Chapter 16, Q to be Human. Oh, to be human. Q to be human. Okay. Chapter 17, Marina Sirtis as Deanna Troi. I've met her. Chapter 18, Jennifer Larmore, Somewhere. Chapter 19, Patrick Stewart as Picard. Chapter 20, Avery Brooks as Cisco. Chapter 21 is an actual astronaut, Dr. Buzz Aldrin. Chapter 22 is another actual astronaut, Dr. Mae Jemison. Chapter 23, Presents from NASA. And Chapter 24, End Credits. This is on 2 sides, runs 88 minutes, is in CLV, and I already mentioned pressed by Pioneer Japan, no cases of rot. Okay. This is the second one in the trilogy. Inside Star Trek, The Real Story. This is based on the book by Herbert F. Solow and Robert H. Jessamine, who were originally connected or were connected to the original series, I should say. Written and produced by Yvonne Vern-Salo, directed by Donald R. Beck. Written and produced by Herbert F. Salo. This has 4 chapters. CLV, single-sided, 49 minutes. These are all in English, all 3 of these discs, with Japanese subtitles, and they are Japanese exclusives. They were not released on LaserDisc anywhere else. Okay, next up. Number 3. Journey's End. The Saga of Star Trek: The Next Generation. This has 4 chapters. CLV, single-sided, runs 46 minutes, English with Japanese subtitles. This is catalog number PILF-2793. The other 2 were -2 and were actually 2792 and 2791. This one I think is cool. It's missing the obi. This is Thunderbirds History, ITC. Where is it? International Rescue History, ITC. I think it's Thunderbirds. There's no English title on it. What this is on side 1, there are the opening and closing themes for all these series in English, the original English language openings and closings. On side 2, with the exception of The Prisoner, which I know was not a Jerry Anderson series, but it was an ITC series, you only get that in English on side 1. You don't get that in Japanese on side 2. They frequently recorded new theme songs and had children singing and so forth with these shows, and so that's interesting. The series are Supercar, Fireball, XL5, Stingray, Thunderbirds, Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons, Joe 90, The Prisoner, The Secret Service, UFO, and Space 1999. This has 2 inserts. Currently my hands are shaking so bad, I don't know, so badly. I don't know if I can get away with doing this. Not much to that one. However, this one, this paper is green, by the way. I have all of these shows on DVD. Just so you know. Not that you care. This is release BEAL-334. And I'm not going to begin to try and pronounce the name of the company. Oh, there's another insert. excuse, please. This is brown or sepia tone or something. Single-sided. There's Thunderbird 1 and various Thunderbird rescue craft. Although I think that might be Fire Flash, I'm not sure. Occasionally I run across a US LaserDisc release that has an insert, but it's far more common in Japan. After all, in Japan, the LaserDisc format was the #1 format. It wasn't in the US. And in Japan, while the format was still active, VHD was the #2 format. I'm going to switch to down here. I got 2 in today. This is from Tai Sang Video Marketing. Tai Chi 2. Pressed by Pioneer, USA. No reported cases of rot. This has the original Cantonese language, digital. Analog track has English dubbed. Also includes Chinese and English subtitles. Chapter 1 is the trailer for The Untold Story. Chapter 2 is trailer for Wing Chun, which I already have on LaserDisc from Tai Sang. Bought that years ago. It was the very first movie I had ever seen with Michelle Yeoh in it. Wing Chun. Okay, and chapter 25 is the trailer for Tai Chi 2. Can't remember if I showed the back. This is release 49796, although it might be listed at the LaserDisc database as TSVM 49796. If there was another 49796, they added the TSVM for Tai Sang Video Marketing to differentiate the two releases. Okay, don't know whether this one's next or this one. This one is. This is the first time I have run across a Tai Sang, I'm going senile. Tai Sang Video Marketing Obi. This is What Price Survival. Now, they obviously just imported this from Hong Kong because this is the Hong Kong release, and then slapped an obi on it and then rented it out or something. This is in Mandarin and Cantonese with English subtitles from Ocean Shores Video Limited. OL-397. Now, interestingly, later on, Tisseghem Video Marketing released it themselves. This is a shorter obi than the Japanese typically used, and on the back is a list of other titles from Tisseghem. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, I'm going to skip on to the next one. This, I believe, was released on LaserDisc in Japan. That release has no reported cases of rot. This one, on the other hand, this is the US release without a clue. This stars Ben Kingsley as Dr. Watson and Michael Caine as Sherlock Holmes. The outrageous comedy about the world's greatest detective and his bumbling partner, Sherlock Holmes. Yes, it turns out that Dr. Watson is the true brains, and Sherlock Holmes is a womanizing, thick-skulled, well, you fill in your own adjectives there. This is from Image Entertainment and Orion Home Video release. I'm looking for the catalog number. If I don't find it, I'm going to the spine. ID 6501OR. Pressed by 3M. 2 reported cases of rot, I believe. Yes. As I believe I stated, the Japanese release of this was pressed at a different facility, obviously, because they didn't use American plants, or European plants for that matter, such as PDO UK, MPO France, DADC, Austria, Sonopress. They only use Japanese pressing plants. Okay, that's going to do it for me until, be sure to look down there because I'm going to place a pinned comment with some stats, and also, while I'm thinking about it, consider subscribing, and it would help me out considerably. Until next time, stay awesome.